The internet doesn't just react, it explodes. And this time, it wasn't a stage performance, a record-breaking song, or a surprise airport appearance that sent ARMY into an emotional whirlwind. It was something far more intimate, far more human, and unexpectedly powerful. A quiet, deeply personal moment between Jungkook and his mother that revealed a lesson so simple, yet so profound, it shook fans across the world to their core. It began with a seemingly ordinary scene, soft lighting, a calm atmosphere, and the comforting familiarity of a kitchen. Jungkook stood beside his mother, both focused on preparing food together. There was no dramatic background music, no flashy editing, just the gentle sounds of chopping, the clinking of utensils, and the subtle rhythm of two people sharing time. But beneath that simplicity, something extraordinary was unfolding. ARMY quickly noticed the way Jungkook watched his mother, not as a global superstar, not as the golden magne, but as a son, attentive, respectful, absorbing every small instruction like it was the most important thing in the world. His posture was slightly leaned in, his movements careful, almost cautious, as if he didn't want to miss a single detail. And then it happened, the moment that changed everything. His mother gently corrected him. It wasn't harsh. It wasn't loud. It was soft, patient, and filled with care. She showed him how to hold the knife properly, how to cut with precision, how to move with intention instead of speed. And Jungkook? He didn't laugh it off. He didn't brush it aside. He listened, truly listened. That single act of a global icon humbly learning from his mother hit ARMY like a wave. Because in that moment, the world didn't see a superstar. They saw a son who still values guidance. A young man who hasn't forgotten where he came from. Someone who, despite fame, still chooses humility. Social media erupted almost instantly. Clips of the moment spread like wildfire, accompanied by captions filled with crying emojis, purple hearts, and messages that read like open letters of admiration and heartbreak all at once. Fans weren't just reacting, they were feeling something deeper. "Why is this making me cry?" one fan wrote. Another said, "He's still her baby no matter how big he gets." But the emotional impact didn't stop there. As the video continued, fans noticed another detail, his patience. Jungkook didn't rush. He didn't try to prove himself. He followed instructions carefully, occasionally glancing at his mother for reassurance. And each time she nodded or adjusted his hand, there was a quiet understanding between them. No word were needed. That's when the true lesson began to reveal itself. It wasn't about cooking. It was about respect. It was about taking time. It was about learning without ego. And for ARMY, that realization hit hard. In a world where success often breeds arrogance, where fame can distance people from their roots, Jungkook's behavior stood in stark contrast. He wasn't trying to impress anyone. He wasn't performing. He was simply being present with his mother in that moment, learning something small that carried a much bigger meaning. Fans began to reflect, not just on Jungkook, but on themselves. "How long has it been since I listened to my parents like that?" someone posted. Another wrote, "This made me want to call my mom." The ripple effect was undeniable. What started as a quiet kitchen moment turned into a global emotional movement. ARMY wasn't just watching, they were remembering their own families, their own childhoods, the small lessons that often go unnoticed until it's too late. And then came the tears, because behind Jungkook's calm expression, there was something else, something subtle but powerful, a sense of gratitude. The way he didn't interrupt, didn't argue, didn't rush ahead, it spoke volumes. It suggested a deep respect, not just for his mother, but for the values she had instilled in him. Values that clearly stayed with him, even as the world changed around him, even as he became one of the biggest stars on the planet. And that's what made it so emotional. Because fans realized, this is why he is who he is. Not just the talent, not just the charisma, but the character, the humility, the ability to remain grounded when everything around him is anything but. As more clips surfaced, fans began analyzing every detail. The way his mother guided his hands, the slight smile he gave when he got something right, the quiet atmosphere that felt almost sacred in its simplicity. There was no need for dramatic storytelling. The moment told its own story, and it spoke loudly. Soon, fan edits began appearing. Slow-motion clips, soft music overlays, captions highlighting the emotional weight of the interaction. Some paired the footage with heartfelt messages about family. Others turned it into a tribute, not just to Jungkook, but to mothers everywhere. Because in that moment, his mother wasn't just his mother. She became a symbol of patience, of love, of quiet strength. And Jungkook, he became a reminder that no matter how high you rise, the foundation built at home is what keeps you steady. The reactions didn't slow down. If anything, they intensified. Fans began sharing their own stories, memories of cooking with their parents, lessons learned in silence, moments they didn't realize were important until they were gone. The comment sections turned into emotional spaces filled with gratitude, regret, love, and longing. This healed something in me, one fan wrote. Another said, I didn't know I needed to see this today. And that's the thing about moments like this. They don't just entertain. They connect. They remind people of what truly matters. And in a world that often feels fast, loud, and overwhelming, that kind of connection is rare. But perhaps the most powerful part of this entire situation wasn't the video itself. It was what it revealed. Because behind the global fame, behind the sold-out concerts and screaming crowds, there is still a young man who stands in a kitchen, learning from his mother. Still listening. Still growing. Still grounded. And for ARMY, that realization was both comforting and overwhelming. Because it showed them something real. Something genuine. Something untouched by fame. And in that authenticity, they found something they didn't even know they were looking for. A sense of warmth. A sense of home. A reminder that even the brightest stars are shaped by the quietest moments. So now the question lingers, echoing across millions of hearts. If such a simple lesson can move the world this deeply, what other hidden moments are waiting to be discovered? What other stories lie behind the spotlight? And most importantly, how many of us have overlooked the very lessons that could change everything? ARMY continues to watch, to share, to feel. Because this wasn't just a video. It was a message. And it arrived exactly when the world needed it most.